how the Web3 startup ecosystem is evolving, from hackathon to accelerator to real-world startup, featuring Thanh Hằng, Deputy President, Tech Community, OITI, Saraya Takahashi, Ecosystem Manager of Web3 Foundation, Tadashi Yoshida, COO and Executive Director, SBI, SDC APEC, Jason Brink, CEO of Datagram, and moderated by Kataki Gard, Effective Ecosystem Pro Manager of HackQuest. This panel will map the journey from ideation to real-world impact, critical for developer, investor, and ecosystem builders alike. Let's welcome them.
Tiếp theo xin mời thảo luận how the Web3 startup ecosystem is evolving from hackathon of accelerators to rework startup, bao gồm Thanh Hằng, Phó Chủ tịch khối công nghệ OITI, Shiraya Takahashi, Executive Manager Web3 Foundation, Takahashi Yoshida, COO and Executive Giám đốc điều hành, Jackson Brink, CEO Datagram, chủ họa Katika Iraq, IBAC Develop Ecosystem Role Manager HackQuest. Từ hackathon đến startup thương mại, hành trình này là bản đồ cho những người xây dựng. Đây là cơ hội hiếm để chia sẻ trải nghiệm từ giai đoạn ý tưởng đến hành động. Xin mời các diễn giả.
So GM folks, are you awake? Let's have this question first. Because we are having it just after the lunch, so I think many people are sleepy yet. So let's have a quick GM. GM! Okay, no worries. So I think let's start with the introduction, and I think we have like only 20 minutes, so I think I will give the opportunity of introducing to the speakers only by themselves. So first, I think we can have Jason.
Hey guys, my name is Jason Brink. I'm the CEO of Datagram. I've been in crypto for a really long time and have been through many cycles of ups and downs and raises and failures to raise and launches and failures to launch and all of that. So I'm happy to be here to contribute to this conversation. Thank you.
Next, Mr. Tadashi.
Hello everyone. Thank you very much for the coming 100,000 people in here. Nobody laughing. So I'm a CEO at SBI Ecosystem Network APAC and head of Japan for the Ecosystem Network. So Ecosystem Network is an industry-focused layer 1 blockchain, and SBI Ecosystem Network is a joint venture with the SBI Groups and Ecosystem Network. So this is the last panel. So it could be the most important and the most valuable panel. So we are making effort to giving a good insight to you. Thank you.
Mr. Saraya.
Yeah, hi, I'm Saraya. I'm from the Web3 Foundation, Ecosystem Success Manager. At the Web3 Foundation, we aim to deliver a more decentralized Web3, where people are in charge of their own identity, their own data, and ultimately their own destiny. And currently we're focusing, and have been focusing for many years, on the Polkadot ecosystem.
At last, we have Ms. Tan.
Yeah, the only girl in the panel, right? Okay, hello everybody. So I saw a lot of the friends and the backstage, so you can move here and we can have a lot of discussion together. And my name is Thanh Hằng, and I'm from the OITI institution, and we build the ecosystem, actually the startup and innovation ecosystem for around 10 years. And I'm also the person to design the strategic plan for Hanoi and now it's Ho Chi Minh City. We're also focusing on some frontier technology, and I'm very happy to join the discussion today.
Okay, so I think we have each category of representative in the panel, whether they have been a builder, whether they are working for a company, whether they are building ecosystems, whether they are hosting hackathons. So if you are basically a beginner dev or you have built a startup, you are currently looking for funding, how the ecosystem works, every question can be catered here, every answer can be received here. So I think let's start. We have two phases in this. First, I think we will be discussing about the hackathons to MVPs. And next, we will be more of discussing on real-world adoption and sustainability in Web3. So I think first question will be open for all speakers here. What's the biggest shift you have seen in Web3 hackathons influencing the real world startups? So anyone can start.
Yeah, I think one trend that we have seen recently is that a lot of the teams, they're kind of hopping between different ecosystems and trying to extract the value from whatever hackathon they're participating, but then they don't really have an incentive to stay there and build long term. So they are quick to abandon the projects. And one counter trend to this problem that I've been seeing is that that some companies or hackathon organizers, they have started to create more multi-stage hackathons with multiple milestones with the goal to retain these developers within the ecosystem.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that another point on that is sort of the way that some of these hackathons are being structured. Initially, if you have an open hackathon, you've got a bunch of people from whoever coming from wherever coming to build on whatever it is that you happen to be, right? These open hackathons have that problem that you're talking about, where you have people dropping off, they just come for really quick extraction, build something that's cool for that day and then move on. But one of the other things that I've also seen is, and I've seen this pretty predominantly within the Solana ecosystem, the Avalanche ecosystem also has some of this, where they have community-based hackathons that are based on long-term membership and commitment to the community itself. And so you have developers that are already in the ecosystem, that are already big fans of the project, coming in and being rewarded. And that sort of paying special attention to your community makes the community feel really good about what you're doing, and gets additional deeper buy-in from the people who are coming to build. Because then they know that if they want to have access to this sort of event in the future, they need to be a contributing active member of the community. And if they're not, then they can't have access. And I think that's kind of a cool way to do this too.
So I want to add more visualization is about two key things. The first one for the I saw the transition from hackathon. So I'm the person to advise for Qualcomm to set up the Qualcomm Innovation Challenge in Vietnam. So now they are not just related to set up the kinds of hackathon, but they bring the challenge from Qualcomm into, and some team they can solve the problem, follow the order from Qualcomm. So that is a very good thing. When I saw that is the startup and other team, they don't set what they have, they set what the market need. So that means they can apply into some challenge. And from 2021, I'm the person to raise the open innovation strategy. I'm very interested with your keyword is open. So the open innovation strategy, that means we raise a lot of challenge. Open Innovation Challenge in Vietnam, and we want all the corporation and other business, they open themselves and put a lot of challenge into the market, and then we can be sold by the startup and other team. Yeah, two things and more.
I speak the last one, and as Jason mentioned, and I have seen a lot of hackathon for more than a decade, and I think the first time the hackathon is something interesting people and something interesting get together and giving some interesting idea and just a place for the having fun. But as the Frank mentioned, and in the hackathon, there's someone giving the open innovation theme or something like things, and also people having their specialty and get together and making an integration for the places. I think that's a quite a big changing for the shifting for the decade among the hackathons.
Got it. So I think next big thing we are currently discussing in this conference is how government is supporting the projects and the Web3. So my question will be to Ms. Than. How government-backed institutions are helping hackathon projects, I would say specifically Web3 hackathon projects?
So you mean that is how the hackathon project can apply for all the team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So because that is different with the question I received from the organizer. But actually, for the hackathon now, they devise many kinds of hackathons, depend on the demand from the organizer and what the output they want to take. And for Vietnam, when we design for all the logos, that means, for example, I'm now the design for the SME strategy for Hanoi. So all the hackathons should be the first focus on the priority industries in Hanoi. And for example, in Vietnam now, we have a different logo, so they have a different colors, and based on that, they can design the hackathon based on their color. Yeah, that is a very important. I remember that one of my friends from T-Hub. T-Hub is the very biggest innovation hub in India, maybe you know. Yeah, the CEO is also my friend, and he told me that 3 keywords I sent to you. The first is focus, the second is focus, and the last is focus. And hackathon one, we want to have the real results should be very focused in industry. Yeah. And the second things is depend on the journey of startup. I mean, from when they are very at the seeding, like and the MVP, just like an idea. So we have the hackathon with the template is different with the startup in the early stage, when the growth startup. For example, for the MVP startup, we always encourage for the R&D centers or university, because all the startup or maybe all the team from university, they don't know what's happening outside, and they are develop the research, maybe is quite far from the business. So that's why we cannot commercialize the result. So that is one example I want to make clear that the hackathon should be divided in a very different state.
I think that's interesting. Next question will be to Mr. Saraya. How Web3 Foundation is helping Web3 projects transforming from a basic hackathon project to a good venture?
Yeah, so we work with different hackathon providers, and so their job is to identify the best teams that they have, and then we kind of support them through our funding programs initially. So we have a Founders Grants program that is invite only, so it's only used for partners like hackathons, and then we nurture them and provide them with all the support that they need to succeed. And besides that, we also have an open source grants program that is open to anybody to apply. Yeah.
So I think if there are builders in the audience, they should hear it carefully more. So you are getting insiders about each and every program from different organizations, government, what everything are going on for, which is useful for you. So I think next question will be to Mr. Tadashi. From your perspective in Web3 are Web3 hackathons really enough for building a good startup?
Yeah, I can say here the no. I think the hackathon, as I said, generate the source of the integration. So that at the hackathon, there are so many topics that discussed within the teams, but that the theme discussed within the hackathon doesn't become a real world cases. So after listening the other teams pitch and also their Q&A, they after backing from the hackathon to our home or their office, they integrated their idea to be generated in the hackathon within my idea. It should be integrated, and then that become the real world cases. I think I think indirectly hackathon could be very influential for the become the real world use cases. I think.
That's interesting. So I think next question will be to Jason. So I think it's a bit of different perspective from here. So from your experience, how can hackathon projects better prepare to become a startup? How they should think? What will be their strategy?
I think it's a little bit of a broader question, right? It's more about startups and how hackathons can fit into your strategy as a startup, right? I think hackathons can be invaluable. I think that what they do is they give you exposure and a chance to kind of air out ideas in a collaborative setting with others. I've led hackathons in the past. Teams that I've had have won hackathons, things like that. So I've sort of seen this from all different angles. And for me, the way that I would think about this is that when you're, as a team, participating in a hackathon, you have really two jobs. The first is to build something that demonstrates your concept, make it very clear what you're trying to accomplish. Don't let scope creep happen. Remember that your participation in a hackathon should solve a problem for the sponsor of that hackathon. Okay? So you're not just building a cool thing because you want to build a cool thing. You want to build a cool thing that gets the attention of the people who will write the check, right? And that means that you have to solve their problem, whatever that happens to be. Engineers can be kind of oblivious to this concept sometimes. So it's good to take a step back and really think about it. The second thing is use this as an opportunity to test your ideas. There's the phrase that steel sharpens steel, right? And so find other people in that hackathon, compete with them on an ideas basis, and share, work together as well. Because then you'll build a better product, you'll build something that has a better chance of winning if you're working collaboratively. And you will better be able to attract the attention of the people who are actually signing off on things at the end of the day.
I think that's a great advice. And I would again suggest to all builders in the audience, start taking notes if you have not yet started. This will be more useful for you while building your next venture maybe. So let's start with the next phase of this panel. That will be mainly we are focusing on real world adoptions and sustainability in Web3. So I think next question will be to Mr. Tadashi again. With XDC's enterprise focus, what real world wins have you seen from Web3 applications yet?
I think the most successful real world cases is currently in the broad sense it's not limited to the XDC. I think tokenization is I think the best way in the use cases for the world because using a blockchain technology and Web3 technologies like a last panel, stable coin or something like things is the regulation is different from each country by country. But think about the tokenization, but it's still something different. Regulation will be implemented, but and also the thinking about the real benefit for the users, including for the individual and industry people. I think currently the tokenization, especially real world asset tokenization, will be a successful use cases for the Web3 world, I think.
Okay, so next question will be to Ms. Than. What policies or incentives can help Web3 startups drive real world adoption without stifling the innovation?
So from my point of view, in Vietnam now, we promote for the system of innovation hub. And that is a divide in the cluster because we just mentioned the keyword focus at the beginning point. And for the innovation hub, they have a neutral role. And even if they want to organize a hackathon, they can become like a determiner to attract all the teams and all the challenge. And the more difficult thing in the ecosystem, how we can define the problem statement and bring them to the team, to the hackathon. That is one thing. The innovation hub team also have to solve it, like as a hospital. Everybody come here because we feel painful, but actually we don't know what exactly is the pain in our body. That's why we have to come to the hospital. And innovation hub like a hospital. They check everything and they show what the problem in exactly the parts of our body. And then when they can bring this part of the body into the like a methodology or something, they can cheat that. And that's why for the hackathon is the same. So I think that the role should be for the innovation hub. The second thing that you can, I don't mention just only for the blockchain community. I mentioned for the AIs, and you can see that APT maybe a few years ago, APT Corporation in Vietnam, they are M&A based off the end. So that's why we don't want all the big corporation M&A for the startup or SME, because we want them to keep going for the explore themselves and push up their energy and have the creation inside. That means we want they collaborate together. And will be the partners, not into the big corporation. Because if the startup or SME jump into the big corporation, very difficult for them to explore themselves. But if they can partners, they can keep going to receive funding from big corporation or other venture capital together. But they still idea and still develop their product. So that is the one suggestion from outside and Vietnam for how we can organize a hackathon and keep the creativity from startup.
Yeah, I think that's true. That's a useful thing we should implement maybe in the future events and future hackathons. Next question from my side is to Mr. Saraya again. Do you think Web3 developer motivation is shifting towards mission-driven problem solving instead of speculative cycles?
Yeah, I think that's a trend. And that's also where we have been focusing on throughout the cycles. So whether it's bear market or bull market, because cycles, they come and go, but the resilient builders that have a long-term vision, that are true believers in solving a actually relevant problem, they actually stay throughout the cycles, right? So our goal is to identify as many as possible of these builders and work with them. And we have seen a lot of innovations within the Polkadot ecosystem thanks to that approach. Some examples being Beefy, which is a trustless light line protocol used for bridging. And with that, you can actually build completely trustless bridges for the first time in Web3 history. So no more multi-sigs, no more validator committees, no middleman, just verify and having confidence that actually it works. And another example includes Agile Core Time, which is on-demand block space, which enables the whole roll-up infrastructure on Polkadot. And to my knowledge, it's the best and most cost efficient, but also the most performant mechanism out there. So it's much cheaper than a CK rollup, but it's also much faster than, for example, an optimistic rollup, right? Because it just takes seconds to reach time to finality, and not hours or days or weeks in some cases. And finally, we're also building Polkadot Jam, which is the next evolution of blockchain in our opinion. So that's a decentralized supercomputer that allows for a more native experience, very comparable to a physical computer. For example, it's going to allow services to be run across multiple blocks rather than have to set a gas limit and then having to hope that it will kind of execute within this one block. And for each of these primitives within the Polkadot ecosystem, we have been significantly contributing to. So this is where we focus. Yes.
Got it. So next will be to Jason. I think this is again the opposite side view. What are the most overlooked factors when designing Web3 infrastructure for a long-term user adoption as a founder?
So for me, the biggest thing has always been, really there's two angles and they're kind of intertwined. The first is that in in Web3, which I hate that term, by the way. It's a terrible, terrible term that nobody can define correctly, and it's terrible. We need to stop thinking of ourselves as Web3 and start thinking of blockchain as a technology layer that helps make better products, period. Not better Web3 products, not better blockchain products, not better crypto products, better products. End of list. And that's a really, really, really critical thing. So when you're designing something for users, don't design it for Web3 users. Don't design it for crypto users. Design it for your mom. Okay? If your mom can't figure it out, if you can't hand it to her and say, here, try this, and she looks at it and goes, I don't know what this is, you did it wrong, try again. Okay? And so for us at Datagram, this is one of the things that's so important. We operate on essentially what is a protocol to business to consumer pipeline. Our focus is on being a protocol that helps businesses deliver better solutions for their customers. We don't need to know the customers, okay? When you pull up your phone and you start an app, Uber or Grab or whatever, and you book a car, you don't think, oh, wow, Ali Cloud is doing great today. It doesn't matter, right? All that matters is that the thing works. So we have 1.2 million users right now that are mostly Web 2, and most of them have no idea that they're operating on decentralized Web 3 infra. And that's really, really critically important. And the other part of it is that products that succeed in the future, okay? And I don't just mean Web3 products or crypto products, I mean products, period, are going to be based around the concept of community. People are tired of being sort of talked down to by companies. And so Web3, we have very much a head start, right? Because all of us started from a position of community, because blockchain started as a community. So we kind of think in this way already. But as we build products going forward into the future, building with this strong emphasis on community, on a feedback loop that allows users to contribute meaningful thoughts to improving services makes a huge difference. I mean, when was the last time that you tried one of your bank apps or tried a game and then sent them a bit of feedback? Like, when was the last time your bank was like, oh, that's great, thanks. Yeah, we'll definitely move that button. It'll be way easier to find if we put it there. Nobody does that, right? But we can do that in this space because we have a much higher iterative churn rate in terms of development and things like that. And I think that we can use these things to make a big difference, excuse me.
Yeah, I think an amazing point which Jason shared is like, we are forgetting the main vision behind Web3. That is bringing the future of internet, bringing the future of tech. We are just thinking to build on chain, whether it's useful or not. We are just thinking to take it to the chain. It's never needed to bring everything on the chain. It's never needed everything to be in Web3. I think mix is needed to be implemented. And always the perspective should be user-centric instead of enterprise thing. The first thing is how users will be coming, how they will be thinking, how they can be onboarded. And the best example is, if your mom can use, anyone can use. So yeah, I think the closing question from my side for all this, the people in panel is, how can we identify when a Web3 startup is delivering real world value versus changing the hype or chasing the hype exactly?
I'll take this first because it's one that I have a particular interest in. Look at the chain. The truth is always on the chain. If you have users talking about or if you have projects talking about how they have all of this traction, like, you should be able to see that. If you can't see it, or if it's obfuscated in some way, then that's probably not a good sign. And so always just dig into things.
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Okay. Just to repeat, like, how we can identify a Web3 startup is delivering real world value instead of just chasing the hype. Like, they're not just making a hype cycle. They are really contributing towards the society. They are really creating value. What are your thoughts on it?
Okay, let me start. Besides answer your question, I want to share that actually I am not in the blockchain community. But I'm very happy when I get a lot lesson learned from you guys. And yeah, I just recognize and share with Miss Queen that is why we don't integrate the power between the blockchain and AI and other like a digital technology. Because if we can do that, all our startup can make more stronger. Because yeah, actually I'm advised a lot for the Ministry of Science and Technology Vietnam, and now is the digital technology one of our priority. But almost the AI community, they are not the and blockchain community, I feel that is quite a little bit separate. Maybe don't have a chance to have a lot of interaction together. I work a lot with NVIDIA, Qualcomm, Amazon, and even the Intels and other. But if all what you share and all the team here, if they join hackathon and if you can involve or you have an engagement from other like a digital technology, they can have a more stronger and for your question and how for the Web3 startup, actually I'm just have a hint. In Vietnam now, we have a setup for the venture capital funding from government. So next step, the government will be join hand with the corporation and business to invest in a lot of startup talent, include the Web3 startup. And now because the blockchain is one of the 11 the priority technology of Vietnam now, that is official legal. Yeah, if you not just have the legal, we can share with the community. So blockchain is one of 11 the pioneers and priority technology. So that's why government we have a lot of policy to promote for the Web3 startup talent. That's why how we can help and support them to engage with the other technology community, and then like a venture capital funding from corporation and government should be involved together. Yeah.
Great. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts is it's always good to have like a customer first approach. So figure out what actually is the problem that you're solving rather than inventing problems and solution for imaginary problems. Yeah. Also, when I was studying IT, the first thing I learned in software engineering was requirement engineering, which is exactly about this, right? And I feel like sometimes this part gets skipped in Web3 projects.
Yeah, I think that they will get giving a good answer. So the time is limited. So I think simply that when the Web3 startups can deliver the value is where the end user can get a benefit compared with the existing service and the schemes. And when they're looking at the Web3 business plan contest or pitch contest, yeah, most startups just we try to using a blockchain technology. And when I do the judge or something like things, and I always ask is it enough to using AWS or cloud or something? So I think the most of by the way, I see that most of the Web3 startups just thinking about within that Web3 world. It doesn't really think about the end user benefit. So when the startups can deliver the real benefit for the end user, that could be a time to changing just chasing a hype to giving a real benefit, I think.
I think in this discussion, one main thing which Saraya highlighted is we should not be inventing problems. I think that which we see in the traditional marketing, this is not just about marketing, that you have to invent a problem, market it, and show that your product is the first to solve this problem. There should be a real problem which is faced by multiple people. No, it should not be like you are telling them that this is a problem which you don't know before this. So I think with that, we can end this panel. And I think before that, I would invite the panelists if they want to share any closing remarks from their side.
Check out what we're doing at demo.datagram.network. We've got some pretty cool stuff going on, and we'd love to have you as part of our community.
I want to have a propose to the HTH Vietnam. That is how you can create the training or other like network sharing with other community, other technology communities like AI, and we can host that and we can collaborate together. Very useful. That's for the Web3 startup. They bring them outside and join hand with other technology community outside.
So if you're interested to have a grant or get support from us, you can check out grants.web3.foundation, or you can come talk to me after this.
So if you guys are really interested in our technology and the existing network, and you can search a web. Otherwise, reaching out to me and exchange links or something like that.
That's great. I will also close with the same note. If you are building any of a project which you think which has a potential, come connect with the panelist, connect with me. So to end with, like I forgot to introduce myself, I'm Karthike Garg, handling developer ecosystem at Hackwest for the APAC region. So if you are building anything on any chain which you are sure about to bring a revolution, which is really a customer-centric product, come to me, let's discuss how we can scale it to big. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.